who should be managing the money.
I'm a little bit concerned here.
And when, that's the important thing, not just when it's going up, because that's where a lot. Welcome to Power Zone Podcast. Of course, my name is Cohen Chisholm. This is the podcast made for the guys, brought to you by the guy himself. He, of course, Cohen Chisholm. And today, guys, we have a special treat for you. I know it's Valentine's coming up, and I know you're thinking it should be all about that romantic gesture for Valentine's. But you know what? You know me, we go deeper than just the surface. I want to fix your foundations so that you can build strong, healthy lifestyle, homes, and families. Okay, so it's no better fitting for me to have with me on Power Zone Podcast today than a financial coach who's going to be walking you through some certain steps you should be taking in leading your financial situation in your family so you can leave a lasting legacy for your family. Help me welcome to Power Zone Podcast, Craige Campbell, a financial coach. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well, Good
Welcome to Power Zone. Yes,
it's
good to have you.
Great pleasure to be here.
Yes. How was the weather, man? Pretty hectic getting out there.
I spent maybe about 45 minutes this morning with my wife shoveling the snow.
Oh my God.
That was fun.
That's how big your driveway is, huh? That's how big your driveway is, huh? Let's jump right into it because I'm really excited about this topic. I think this is something where a lot of people are struggling so much, and it's getting a grip on their finances.
True.
Now, you're a financial coach.
Yes.
Not a financial advisor, so I want you to differentiate between the two so people get a clear understanding.
Yes, it's a great question because it's something that comes up all the time. For a lot of people that don't know who I am, I was actually a financial advisor at once. So I got into the investing and got into insurance especially, and segregated funds and all those kinds of things. And the companies, and most companies will tell you the same thing. You know, you go out and find your customers, you do like a little budget with them, figure out what their cash flow is, and say based on what's left, it's like, here's how much insurance you need to get. And you get them insurance, you get them some investments, maybe a RSP or RESP, and then you bounce and go on to the next one.
Right.
But what I realized, and what I realized in my 7 or 8 year career as a financial advisor, people needed help beyond that.
That's right.
They really were spending their money in the wrong way. They really didn't know how to budget. They really didn't know how to get out of debt. They really didn't understand their credit and those kinds of things, right? There's a mindset that goes along with, like, most of us can spend really, really well.
Oh, yeah.
No problem spending.
We go to work really well and we spend it really well.
We spend it really well. We work hard. It's like, I deserve to spend my money however I please.
That's
but when you think that way, you're robbing yourself of the future. So I left that particular field, got into corporate world and sales and management, things of that nature. But I decided to become a financial coach because over the years, I compiled a lot of information and I applied that information for myself, for my families, for my friends. I did some coaching, if you will, for some private clients. But then I realized, you know what? Like you just said, there's a lot of people that are struggling about their finances. And there's also a shame that goes with it. So we don't want to ever tell anybody. It's like, I'll just invest some money, I'll just save some money, but they don't really know what they're doing.
Right.
So my job now as a financial coach is really to go hand in hand with an advisor, because I will recommend advisors for people to go to.
Okay.
But I'm going to get into the nuts and bolts with you. I'm going to look at your budget. I'm going to look at your finances. I'm going to ask you questions to figure out what your spending is, what your goals are, and then we make different plans and adjust those plans as we go to help you achieve your goals.
Oh, wow. So pretty much in your role as a financial coach, then you're pretty much there throughout the whole journey.
Exactly.
Meeting with them on a regular basis.
Right.
I like it.
So it's not transactional. I'm just going to come to your house and say, okay, sign these papers here. Now you got insurance. Take care. Right? Now I'm actually working with you one-on-one. Sometimes it's face-to-face. Like I met with a client last week. Sometimes it's by Zoom. I also have some courses as well. So some people want to do it on their own.
Right.
And we have the course to do that for you. But if you want to work with me, then sometimes we incorporate the courses and working together, going through and say, okay, here's what you're doing. giving you homework. Okay, here's what you got to do.
Right.
We're going to get that back together next week. You're going to show me what you've done.
Exactly.
We want to make sure you've done all those things. Accountability, right? I'm checking on you with emails and texts during the week. Now we come back, it's like, okay, what have you done? This is good. This is great. You missed this one.
Right.
Okay, what happened here? Let's talk about it. And we basically make changes as we go.
That's right.
And so the goal is maybe about, for most people, about 6 weeks, 8 weeks that I work with them. And then we'll touch base as we go along. So it's not just one meeting, we do everything and just move on. I want to work with you on a continual basis to a time. And once we basically agree that, okay, I think I'm in a good place.
Right.
Now you can roll. There's a lot of investments out there. People like to need to save their money, invest their money. A lot of people are afraid of the stock market.
Oh, yeah.
But there's alternative and private investments out there that are secured. And I get into those things as well with my clients, depending on what they're looking for.
So your role, a lot of times you hear the arguments a lot of time, who should be managing the money, the person who makes more, should it be the man? So I guess you really strip that, alleviate it, and then it brings back, so when after that 6 weeks, who would you recommend should be the manager of the fund? And should it be the person making the most or the person that's most organized with it?
That's a really good question. I've never been asked that particular question before. Honestly, I think the person that is most organized. There are a lot of people that make more money than spouses. I mean, I've yet to find spouses that make the same amount of money. There's always somebody making more, man or woman.
That's right.
Right? But the person that wants to do it, the person that is good at organizing, because it's not something, there are many ways in which you can automate things.
That's right.
And get things going without you having to touch it. But even though you're automating, you still need to manage it. You still need to know where things are going. You want to make sure nothing is missed in terms of bill payment. You want to make sure that even though you've set a plan maybe months ago, well, how does today compare to 6 months ago? Right? Am I still on forecast to get to where I want to be? So those things are important. You need to manage those kinds of things, but it's definitely important to work with the person that really understands and wants to. But at the same time, even if you as a spouse delegate that responsibility to your wife or to your husband,
should be checking in.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I'm not good at money. Like, that's her thing. That's his thing. Great. Maybe it is her thing. Maybe it is his thing. You still need to know what's happening.
Because if something happens to that person,
then what happens then?
Yeah, you got to know everything that's coming in.
Exactly.
And what's going out. And when, that's the important thing. Not just when it's going out, because that's where a lot of people,
they miss it. They miss it. And sometimes I work with people to streamline things, because even though Visa or MasterCard is saying this is the due date, in many cases, if you have conversations with them, it's like, can you move this date? Because I normally get paid on this time.
Right.
Or maybe that most of my bills are coming around the first or the middle of the month or the end of the month. Can I move it so everything coincides? So some people do that kind of thing, right? But you absolutely should know when your money's going in and when your money's coming out, for sure.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I know a lot of you kind of want us to talk a little bit more about credit, but that is such a big topic that we decide we want to just leave that for another podcast where we can just sit in and dive into it. So if you have some questions about credit, leave it in the comments so that we can answer all of those questions for you when we get together next. So we're going to pick up right where we are right now, right? Yeah. So we talked about the differences between your role as a financial coach. And we also talked about the difference with a financial advisor. What would your recommendation be right now for those people who think they have it all together? They have a good structure, a good rhythm going. What would you recommend to someone like that right now?
Honestly, as a financial coach, like what I offer usually is a free consultation. Right. So what I ask people to do is like come into the consultation, book something with me, and then you can kind of go over like, well, here's where I am. Here's the areas I really feel that I'm strong in. Here's the area that I feel maybe could be a little bit of tweaking, but I think overall I'm doing okay. What do you think? So I've had many of those kinds of calls. We've looked at things and be like, you know what? You're right. Actually, things are good. Just keep on doing this, tweak this, stop doing this, cut this down a little bit, and just keep on going. Other times I've met with people, it's like, I'm a little bit concerned here.
Right.
There's an area that maybe you think is right, but it could be here based on what
That's
you're
right.
making.
Exactly.
Based on what your timeline is to retire, etc. You need to tweak things up a little bit here. And so that's what my free consultation is. And then based on that meeting, if we feel that there's a good marriage, if you will, between
Right.
us, then we can go ahead and book some additional times going forward. Right?
Now, in terms of your consultation, are there different packages, or is it just like a one price fit all?
Yeah, so I do have different packages, absolutely.
That's good. Okay.
So yeah, so the consultation, the first call is half an hour usually. It always goes over. I say half an hour, it always goes over, which is fine. But for people that want to go forward, there's like really inexpensive courses that I have.
That's right.
Of course, and you can just book maybe like 2 sessions. Like if you book one session, it's one price. If you book 2 at a time, then of course you get some discounts. But if you really want to get into like the real package, like I need help, my finances are just a mess. I don't think we can fix this in 1 or 2 calls. This is
Right.
going to take some time. Then I have a package that's based on my actual weekly coaching and
Right.
check-ins and everything, weekly tips that I will be sending, as well as the courses as well. So I
Right.
put all those things together. So that's why I have the consultation, because during that we can figure out what is best.
Right.
And in some cases, people just take the call and be like, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Right. I'll talk to you in 3 months or 6 months to check in.
Even for someone right now who's watching this before they book, what do you think they can do right now to kind of restructure themselves up prior to even meeting with, like, on their own right now, for those people who are struggling? Because when you think about budgeting, I've come across people who has absolutely no idea
Yes. Yes.
how to budget. What would you say the starting point would be for that person who's watching? They're like, you talk about budget, but how do you do that?
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing, if you don't want to book a call with me, that's fine. If you send me an email, you can send me an email at craige@goodmoneyskills.com, and I can actually send you a budget. So that's going to be a first thing to help if you don't have a template.
Right.
But if you have a template, just have some kind of idea. The first thing is you need to have an idea of what your spending is. Everybody knows what they make, and we always advertise our gross, right? I make
Right.
$100,000 a year. You don't really, right? After taxes and all the different things that are coming off, you need to figure out exactly, dollar down to the cent, what are you bringing in each month? Okay, so once you have that, now you got to look at your expenses. Most people are misjudging what they spend their money on, right?
Right.
They think of, okay, I have this amount of money for rent or mortgage or tax, property tax and, food and things of that nature. But a lot of people underestimate what they spend on grocery, what they spend on dining out, restaurants, getting that burger because you don't feel like cooking that day. They also underestimate a lot of times drinking, right? I don't really drink, but there are a lot of people's like, I just have a beer once in a while or whatever. But when they look at the costs, I've met people spending $300-400 a month just on alcohol, but they don't realize it. They think I spend maybe $50-60.
Yeah.
But once you
That's
start to
one
look
visit.
at that's one visit,
Yeah,
right?
it's one visit.
Going out to the club, right? All of a sudden the beer is like $8 or something. I'm going out with my boys. You know what? We need to get bottle service, right?
Yes.
Like things like that. We just had Taylor Swift in town, right? Amazing performer, right? Not knocking her in any particular way, but she had 6 concerts that were sold out. I was going to say Sky Dome, but the Rogers Center, right? Now, think of how much those tickets cost.
That's right.
I mean, the cheapest ticket was probably around $800 or so.
Yeah.
She sold out 6 concerts, okay?
Credit card, man. Credit card.
But everyone used their credit card. Not to mention they're buying food and buying shirts and buying other memorabilia, right? They overspent and
That's
they
right.
keep going into these kinds of things. I'm just going to this concert, just going to this club. I'm just going to this, dinner with my friends, my boys, whatever. People don't recognize how much you're spending. So when I'm saying all of that to say, start taking a note of exactly where your money is going. So if you know what's coming in, you know what's going out, you're going to recognize a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck.
That's right.
I heard even today they said in the States, and it's very similar here, 60% of people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, for sure.
But they're not, in many cases, not really looking at their budget and really overseeing how their money is going in and out. So I think those are the first steps. And then we can look in terms of tackling the debt and investing their money and saving their money and looking at where their money is going and all those kinds of things.
Yeah, and you see, when we speak of even the credit, because it's so convenient now, because remember before when you would receive your paychecks, you had a lot more respect for it when you got that tangible check in your hand. The paper check, yes. And you went to the bank with a budget.
Yes.
But now everything is just digital.
Everything. Right? And it's almost, it's sad, it's almost not like your fault. Because even when I think of when I went to university, I mean, I remember all the tables that were lined up. They were trying to get you a credit card. And like, wow,
for sure.
I want to get that cup. I want to get that bag.
Yeah.
And you sign up and you get credit. And if you're a student, you're a starving student, right? I didn't have money.
Yeah.
And you're thinking all of a sudden, I got $500. Yo, I'm good, right?
Yes.
Now you start putting everything on your credit card and you get that habit.
Exactly.
And then you fast forward to like present society. Well, now there's incentives to use the credit card.
That's right.
If I buy this with cash or with my debit, it's paid for, it's done. But if I use my credit card, I can get rewards. I can be able to fly to Belize next year on point.
And
I can
spend
get
more
cash
money
back.
on the credit card.
There you go, right? So now there's more of an incentive to use that credit card and get those loyalty points.
Right.
But if you don't really track your spending and what you're doing, you're putting yourself into more financial harm.
It just gets deeper. And you see, even a lot of times, one of the challenge, right? I used to work in the bank, and you see clients come in and they would say, oh, this went through. They were supposed to go through yesterday and they didn't. And because of that, I went grocery shopping. I'm thinking, but it doesn't matter.
It shouldn't matter at all.
If you're budgeting
properly
and you understand that because they may not have gone through yesterday because it was a Saturday or a Sunday or a holiday, doesn't give you the right to spend it today.
Absolutely right.
Right? So these are all some of the things, because now what does it do? $25 NSF fee at the bank and a $25 NSF fee from the company who's charging the pre-authorized payment. So you just dug yourself in more of a hole because, you know, you're just not managing it. You had it there, but you just figure they didn't go through on the date we agreed. It's not yours. Yeah, so that's just like a side note. But, you know, I used to see that so many times when I used to work in the bank. You know, that's like a common thing we would see over and over. Can I get this overdrawn fee, you know, returned back to me? That's not our fault. That's your fault.
It is. Absolutely.
Right? So this is where you definitely need to connect with Mr. Campbell so he can help you structure your situation.
Absolutely.
Get your finances in alignment so you don't have to face those days where, hey, you know what? Whoa, there's $50 in my account. I wasn't expected there. And you go shopping, forgetting that that 50 was for your life insurance.
And now you're in arrears, right? Exactly. Yeah.
So tell them, where can they find you?
I'm easily found. You can actually go to my website at goodmoneyskills.com, just like it says, goodmoneyskills.com. And there you can learn a little bit about me. You can sign up for one of my weekly newsletters. Every week I give different tips and things and tricks that you can use.
Right.
But there's also an ebook that I actually wrote.
Oh, nice.
And it's actually about creating an unshakable budget. Because when people think of budget, it's like the B words, like, oh my gosh. But I go through some steps, 5 particular steps to help you create that budget and help it make sense for you. And it's absolutely free. You just go there and download. It's absolutely free.
So would you say one of the steps are in the book right now that you can share so that?
Sure. One of the steps is actually mindset, right? There's a lot of mindset when it comes into spending and managing your money. So, for example, someone says, you know what, I want to get a car. It's like, cool, because we need to get a car, especially if you don't live downtown, you need to get around. How much do you want to spend? You know what? Sometimes you just pull that number out of the hat. I think $500 is a good number. Cool. They go to the dealership, they look for the car, and the dealer tells them, you know what? $500, that's what you want to spend? No problem. You can get this car if you spend for $500, but you have to have like a 96-month term. If you have a 96-month term, no problem. You think makes sense? $500, that's the car they want, and you go and get the car. But you can't afford that car. And that's the point. So it's a mindset, first of all, letting you know, because there's something that but it's something that's created called Parkinson's Law. And Parkinson's Law states that it was really created by a scientist talking about time, right? So if your boss or your wife gives you a task to do, and they say it has to be done by Friday, it's Sunday now, right? You will wait. Most people wait until Thursday to even start, and then they rush, right, and try to get it done. They usually get it done, but they basically use up all of that time, right? They use up all the time before they go. When you apply that to your finances, you're looking at something, a car, going back to a car, you make $50,000 a year, and you think, you know what? I make $50,000 a year. Let me just get a Corolla, right? That car, it's reliable, it's cheap, I'm good. But all of a sudden now you're making $80,000, $90,000, $100,000. Now you're looking at the Corolla and be like, what is this? I deserve a BMW, right? That's what I deserve, right? So now all of a sudden you get into a BMW, but you can't really afford it, right? And you're spending more money than you can because you haven't done the research to really understand what it takes to maintain a car like that, a luxury car like that. But if you continue to make $80,000 and kept that Corolla, or maybe need to upgrade the Corolla and you went to a Camry as an example, now you still have all that money in between. And now you can use that money to now reinvest it. Right. So that's one of the things I talk about in my ebook, just basically understanding to break Parkinson's Law and understanding your money mindset and recognizing just because you can afford the payments doesn't mean you can afford it.
Exactly, right? Because it's not just a payment. Now you're looking at premium gas.
Yes. Premium gas.
You're looking at more a premium cost and insurance.
Right. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
And God help you when something breaks down. Right? It's not going to be like back in the day, $100 or $200 for your brakes.
That's right.
Now you're looking at $1,500, $2,000 just for your brakes.
That's right.
You didn't have that in mind.
That's right.
Right? And a lot of people can't afford that. So you got to be mindful. And not just, I can afford the payments, therefore I can afford this purchase. No. Right. No. You have to look at it practically.
Exactly. And, when it comes to your finances, something that, we shouldn't take lightly.
No.
Because that really is the foundation of your home.
Your home, your legacy.
It's your legacy, right? Yeah. It makes and breaks
absolutely
the temperature in your home.
Absolutely. There are and you know this, you all heard this. It's not something new. You've heard so many couples, households break down because of arguments over finances. People spending money they shouldn't be spending, having a separate account, gambling, whatever it might be, right? But you have to be in one accord when it comes to that finance. And some people are going to be spendthrifts. Right? Some people are going to be very parsimonious, but you have to have the conversations to figure out where's that balance, because you're not living just for today. There is a future. That's right. There's so many people you see all the time. You go to Walmart, you go to fast food joints, and you see older people in their 60s and 70s working. Do you think they're there because they want to work? They're there because they didn't save enough money.
That's right.
And now they've ran out of money, had to get back into the workforce. But a lot of us, when we're younger, we're thinking, I'm not retiring until I'm 65, 70. I got all kinds of time. But you'll be surprised just how quickly life catches up to you. Yes. So you have to do whatever you can now and accelerate things. So when you get to the retirement age, not only do you have money to live on and to enjoy yourself, but we talked about the word legacy. You have money to pass on to your children. We see real estate these days. How are our children, they're now teenagers in their 20s, even 30s, going to afford a home?
Yes.
Guess what? They're going to need our help.
They will.
But if you haven't put anything aside because you've just been spending it on and taking credit and paying all these extra fees and thinking, I got time, what's going to happen?
Yes.
Right?
On that note, for a lot of you young folks, you're living home, you got a good job, you're out of university, and you're thinking, okay, I'm moving out. Stay home.
Stay as long as you can.
Stay as long as you can.
Get along with your parents.
Save that money.
Stay.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, I preach that to mine.
Absolutely.
Right? They're working. I'm like, so you stay here.
Yeah.
You want to buy something, put it to rent, let someone else pay that mortgage.
Absolutely.
And then by the time you get married, you go, your mortgage is almost paid. Right? So consider this good advice.
Yes.
Stay home, save that money. Because it seems to come so easy now because we're in a fast-paced society. But realize there are 20 things taking your one, competing for your $1.
It's true. It's true.
You know?
You just have to practice that delayed gratification. I talk about that as well. Right? We live in a society where everything is instant.
That's right.
Like our microwaves and everything else. I mean, remember, we grew up on dial-up, like for internet, right? I mean, we wanted to download a song. We hit download and go downstairs and get something to eat.
Yes.
Because it would take so long. Now, you have a little circuit. You're like, oh, come on. Why is it taking so long? We want everything so quickly. But when it comes to our finance and building a foundation, building a legacy, it takes time.
It takes time.
It takes time, but you gotta pour into it today, and then you're gonna have that legacy for tomorrow.
Exactly. I always say by 55, I want to be like out of it and just chilling.
Yes.
So I have 4 years to go.
4 years.
So I'm moving really aggressive right now
Awesome.
with the financing because I'm not that guy waiting on 65. I want to go and enjoy the Caribbean sunshine.
Absolutely.
Put my feet up at the beach somewhere and just know, you know what? I still have life ahead of me.
And bypass all the snow.
Don't remind me, it's out there.
Beautiful thought.
I look at it and I convince myself it's white sandy beaches.
All right. Here we go. All right.
But yeah, like it's not even, we got to make light sometimes, but truth be told is, we can't hammer it home enough of how relevant it is to have your finances intact. This is something I didn't always have it together.
That's normal.
But when we got married, we practiced it. We failed a few times, and now we have a system where it's like.
And that's the main thing. Like, you have to create a system. And when you hear stories like you, Cohen, and other people's, like, they got their finances together, they know all their investments are, they know where everything is. It's like, oh man, those guys are so lucky. That woman, she's got on the ball, but it takes work. And it doesn't matter where you are, you can get there. It's just about creating that system. And that's what I try to do, to meet with people to create those systems and to get to the point where it's automatic. And then you start to learn things and apply the things that you learned.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, wow. Like, I just met with someone the other day. Well, it was not our first meeting. We actually met like in the fall. And she was in a really bad place because she was married. And unfortunately, her and her husband broke up. But in terms of the finances, he took care of everything. Right. He did everything. So now she's with the kids and she's like, I don't know what to do. We sat together. I gave her one of my courses and we had quite a few different meetings. And the last meeting we had last week, she was crying. She was crying with happiness because she's I've learned so much. I've done so much. My finances are looking so much better. I was ready to give up. But it was just that I didn't realize what I had. I didn't realize what a derivative was from a RESP, from a REIT. Like, I had no idea. So now that I know these things, I know where my money's going, I know where my debts are, now it all makes sense. And even giving her some advice in terms of a student loan she had. Now the student loan, of course, is now deferred, so she doesn't have to pay for that anymore. So she's just in a much better place. So there's a lot of shame, like I said before, that people think I should be here compared to this person. And since I'm not, I'm just not even going to try. I'm just going to forget about it. And you can't. Like, this is something that's vital for you to be able to live the way you want to live, to be able to have that legacy, to be able to just get rid of that stress, that financial stress we have. And with the economy as it is right now, with interest rates as high as they are, with the price of real estate, with inflation and tariff threats and wars and so on, is even more effort and more stress is going to be put on us.
That's right.
And that's why it's even more essential and more important that we get on top of our finances, understand where our money is going, spend differently, spend better, invest better, and grow our income and grow our assets over time.
Now, having said that, we're going to move a little bit further along in the program right now. I think we've given them some good meat today.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope I helped.
If you have questions, like I said, put it in the comment.
Yes.
And we're going to be answering, because I think we can be doing one on like credit. We can even be doing one on investment. There's so many different angles.
There's
because
many different areas.
We just don't have enough time to dig into all of it in one setting. And we really want you to get it. We want to have it resonate with you so you can take things away. So it's not to just shoot it all at you all at once, but we want to give it to you in phases. So phase 1 right now is to change what you're doing, reshape, right? Get restructured. So that's step number 1. And then from there, we can talk about your credit. And then after that, then we want to get into your investment. So we're at this part in Power Zone. We call this, my friend, the hot seat.
The hot seat. Oh my gosh.
The hot seat. The hot seat. It's not that hot, though. It's not that hot.
All right.
So the way the hot seat work is each guest leaves a question for the other guest.
Yes.
And then you'll in turn send me a question for the other guest.
All right.
All right. So my past guest said, if you were told you had 90 days to live, what would you spend the last 2 weeks of your life doing?
The last 2 weeks of my life. Wow. The last 2 weeks, really, I'd spend with my family. I have 3 boys and a girl. I also have 2 grandchildren, a boy and a girl.
Okay.
And, of course, I have an incredible wife. And for anyone that meets her and knows her, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I see why you say she's incredible, because she's just got this spirit. And I'd just be spending time with them. Maybe the first week I'd spend with the kids, and the last week I'd spend with my wife. You just put a thought in my head. You're talking about a nice Caribbean beach with the sand and the ocean. I'd like to spend my last week just with my wife, just experiencing the ocean and just looking back and reminiscing about my life and all the things that we've gone through, the good and bad, as one big full experience, and have her be the last person that I see before I close my eyes. That would be...
That is so romantic. It's got me all teary-eyed. But thank you so much for that response, Craig.
Yeah.
And you'll send me a message, and then the next person
I have
get
the
it.
message. It's gonna be a good one.
All right.
Be a good one.
Well, whoever it's going to be, you got to prepare yourself.
Yes.
But Craig, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. It's
Coming
really
to
great
Power
to be
Zone.
here.
Yes,
definitely.
and it won't be your last time, because there's so much work that we have to get into our cultures, because we want to build good, solid homes. And
absolutely.
Again, this is a
important
platform for you guys to learn.
Hey, yo, Ash to see.
Right? There's all kind of form bashing us, so this is a forum for us to grow. Right? Individually first, and then you can bring that into your relationship, and you can take control and lead your household. All right? So Valentine's coming up. Make sure you don't be generic. It may not be flowers that she wants, but you got to figure out her love language.
Absolutely.
And work within that to give her that smile for Valentine's. And likewise, lady, same thing goes for the man. All right? Not just a lingerie, but figure out what he wants as well.
Yes.
I will see you next time on Power Zone Podcast. My name's Cohen Chisholm. This is my guest here today.
I'm Craig Campbell.
See you next time.